Chairman Simpson, honorable committee and subcommittee members, thank you for having me today. I'm coming from Phoenix, Arizona, but I spent a lot of time on the reservation, and you do have my written testimony of what I have done and what my topic is. But at the same time, I do support and I do share all the sentiments of all the tribal members that have testified yesterday and today, because I do come from the trenches. I've lived on the reservation for many years. I worked with medicine men and tribal leaders and I would say businessmen and elders and all have the same narrative and that they're really suffering, and I come with a very heavy heart. I established the first end-of-life and palliative care on the reservation in the largest tribe in the United States, in the Navajo Nation. And I wrote the first policies under the memorandum of agreement approved by the Department of Justice. That's how far I went to really provide this service to elders with cancer who have no service at all. And it was the first time that a tribal government, Indian country, realized that there are elders out there who need hospice care they didn't know anything about. And that kind of radiated to other tribes, and now I work with many of them. And I eventually ended up at the Osheti-Shakwi treaty government. I work within the Sioux Nation and many other tribes as well on healthcare economic development. And me living on the reservation, I saw grandma hitchhike her way 50 to 100 miles to see her doctor, and then she dies on the way because it's cold. I have seen children in IHS hospitals, and she's just there and nobody takes care of her, and she dies there on the bleachers. So I understand that this is an appropriation meeting for allocation of funds for Indian health, which is very, very important, but I think there is a bigger problem. It's not just only the funding that is the problem. I think there is more. It's not the shortfall in funding that's causing the issue. I think that the issue is that there isn't a collaboration with outside organizations that can partner up with tribal nations to bring in something that works. Pumping money all the time every year, higher and higher, it's not going to solve anything because just the foundation is just not there. Can you imagine IHS not having any policies for hospice and palliative care at all? Okay. We have 15,000 physicians that I work with across the nation that can change the fabric of Indian health in 5 years. I mean, from telehealth to global doctors and nurses to clinics and so forth. And many of my tribal colleagues wish they could be here today, but it was just too expensive for them, just for them to fly out. But they did give me some heartfelt quotes that you'll be very emotional if you hear them. For example, my uncle Lester at Tuajale, the Navajo Nation. He's in his 70s. He's a former chairman of the National Indian Health Board. He's been waiting 3 years as a veteran, Vietnam veteran, whose brother also is a Purple Heart recipient, waiting 3 years for him to take care of his knee. And nothing's happening at the VA, and he's very far from the VA, and there are no immediate health care services. Another person from the Navajo Nation asking how can we build private hospitals to finally fix health care. So as you can see, IHS since 1955 has come to a point where we still have these professionals and elders begging for health care. And me seeing all this, being from the trenches, is very emotional because you see this firsthand. That's why I do sympathize with Oglala Sioux and the police chief, Mr. Young, because I've seen it. I've been there. It's very dangerous, and women and children missing. My goodness, I raised it up at the Amnesty International when that was happening several years ago. So my testimony is really a reflection of not only of what's happening, but I think it's a reflection of an actual genocide happening right now in real time. Genocide through healthcare issues, genocide through economic stagnation, genocide culturally, language loss and all that. And I think that's happening at the same time. I mean, we are talking about 574 federally recognized tribes. What about the tribes that are not recognized yet? What about the treaty Indians? And we have a lot of those. We have a lot of tribal bands who are seeking federal recognition for them to get the benefits done. And also at the same time, even the veterans who are Native American are having issues with, pension funds and so forth. So they try to reach everywhere just to get a solution for the problem that they're facing. Before COVID hit, actually around the time February or March, I published The Tipping Point, which was a manuscript to warn tribal governments that when COVID hits, it's going to be a travesty on the reservations because they were not ready healthcare-wise. And it was going to close down their casinos, and they're going to lose a lot of gaming revenue. And that's what happened. But unfortunately, I had more calls coming in from Wall Street than the tribal nations on this manuscript. So with all the heartfelt sentiments that I have regarding the reservation, I want to make sure that at least the quotes that are given to me are actually those people that are having a hard time communicating that to IHS. And my very close colleague of mine from the Nahatazil Commission Governance of the Navajo Nation, he died at the age of 34 from COVID coma, and he was trying to ask his own government to help him to set up shop so I can bring in the doctors, and that never happened. And in other words, the CARES Act money and all that went to tribes never really went down to help the community in time, at least. So that's why whether I hail out of the Osheti-Shakwe Treaty government or the Navajo Nation or anywhere else, I have thousands of elders and medicine men and tribal leaders, who have come together to really fix the healthcare once and for all. I mean, it makes it more special for me, an honor, because I'm not even Native American. I'm an Armenian of Armenian descent. So it's the first time that I'm really representing a native country. And not only that, but I have the Asian American National Committee. We have a multi-ethnic collaborative that is trying to help Indian country. And I think it's a wonderful feeling that we have all these people coming together to help. So I guess I could just bring it up to 5 minutes. I mean, I can write a dissertation on this, but 5 minutes is, so appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the chairman and subcommittee and everyone that has a good helping hand with the committee.